Back to my editorial, top of the hour. Fox News contributor Scott Martin joins us now. Look, Scott, I say we are on the road back to prosperity. We get 4% growth. The media, though, refuses to acknowledge it. Do we, the voters, do we, investors, feel that we're in back to prosperity?
I hope so. Let's not listen to the media that has ignored the record 401k balance that we've seen, Stuart, the amount of rising wage growth that finally came back to the economy after years of dormancy. Like you mentioned, the GDP projections for Q2 that are well over 4% by our work, about 4.6 is our latest read. So, yes, I think we should think about internally how we feel before we go trusting these outside sources that clearly have an agenda to push, which basically wants the economy, as we've seen from, say, guys like Bill Maher, to go into a recession, people to lose jobs, and people to be miserable so they can actually have a shot in November, which I don't think they have.
All right, let's move away from the big picture and look specifically at Apple. I've got two headlines for Apple. First off, they're teaming up with Oprah to create new content, and Apple reportedly wants to make movies with an animation studio. So, Scott, to me it looks like Apple is using its massive amounts of money to just buy content and buy into the media business.
Yeah, finally, right? I mean, they've been sitting on this mountain of cash for the last several years and have probably missed out, Stuart, on maybe Netflix in its infancy, but certainly other opportunities along the way in the last couple of years. As you know, we still do own Apple here. We still like it. I love teaming up with Oprah. I mean, just ask Weight Watchers how that worked out. It did very, very well for the stock and for the company. And look at the animation side of things, too. I'm guilty of being one of the Incredibles 2 people that went over the weekend with my two kids. So part of that 180 million or whatever it raked in over the weekend. So animation is definitely strong. Kids love these movies, as do parents. I admittedly loved that movie, so I think it's good they're getting into that space, too.
Do you think this news that they may be getting to animated films and they've hired Oprah to make original content, you think that's big enough in and of itself to boost Apple's stock price long term?
If it's good, yes, in the sense of if they do it right. You know, you're right. I mean, we're talking about a company that went from hardware to some software to now to this production side. It's going to take a while, believe me, because a lot of these other companies have such a head start on them. But let's face it, man, it's Apple. And you think about when they launched the iPod back in the day and then the iPhone, nobody, I promise you, would have thought it would have grown into what it is today. So I believe in them.